Hello, my name is Serena and I'm here to help tell you about how to send a fax. I noticed there was a need for this training when I realized that there were only 4 people in my office that knew how to properly send a fax. So what are the fax? Being able to send a fax is a fundamental skill when you work in an office setting. In particular, I've noticed that in education and higher education, the concept of sending a fax is very much still alive and present. Therefore, I created this presentation to demonstrate 3 key steps that are relatively universal when using a fax machine, as well as some important fax etiquette. If anything, this can help the younger generation impress some of the veterans in their office. The fax machine can sometimes be overlooked or seen as a printer or an old telephone. On the screen, you can see several variations of what a fax machine could look like. These machines come in all shapes, sizes, and models, but can typically be recognized by several key features, including a phone attachment, keypad, dial screen, a send button, as well as a send and receive tray. So how do you send a traditional fax? Let's look at the process. The first step is to have the document that you want to send and place the document on the feeder tray or the send tray. This will look similar to a paper tray commonly found on a desktop printer. Make sure you always use a professional cover letter when sending a fax. The cover sheet will help you notify the individual on the receiving end of the main purpose of the fax. It should include information such as the date, number of pages being faxed, the sender's name and contact information, who the fax is intended for, as well as a description of the fax purpose. You can identify the feeder tray by the icons below. These also demonstrate the correct way to place the document in the tray, whether it is face up, seen on the left, or face down, seen on the right. Make sure to pay attention to these symbols, for if you put the paper in incorrectly, you can end up sending a fax with just a blank piece of paper. The second step is to enter the fax number that you are sending to. This will be different from the regular phone number for the intended recipient. It is very important to make sure you include any external extensions as well as the international codes to make sure the fax sends to the correct recipient. For example, in my office, you must dial a 7 before including the international code and area code of a phone number. I have included a sample of what a number would look like if I was to send a fax from my office. I would first dial a 7, then a 1 if it is a US phone number, followed by the area code and the 7-digit fax number. The last step, step 3, is to send and wait for a confirmation that your fax has been sent by the machine. The send button could also be labeled as start, fax, or go, but is usually depicted by the symbol as shown in the image, which looks like a diamond with a vertical line going through it. Also remember to make sure you always take your original document when you're finished sending your fax. And voila! Your fax has been sent. In addition to the fax tips listed in the 3 steps, such as including a cover letter and taking your original document from the sent tray, it is important to remember a few more details that can make faxing a smoother process. This includes picking up the phone and calling the recipient after sending a fax in order to get a confirmation that the information has been received and is or will be given to the correct individual. It is also very important to know when not to send a fax. This includes private, confidential, or sensitive information, since due to the nature of a fax, more than one individual could end up seeing the document. If your fax has a very specific recipient, you can even call beforehand in order to inform them that you are going to send a fax that requires their immediate attention. Also, when sending a fax, remember that patience is a virtue. Be patient with yourself as well as others that may not be familiar with faxing. This could also be a wonderful occasion for you to demonstrate your new faxing skills and even lend a helping hand. Included on this slide are the links to all of the images that were used in the presentation. I want to thank all of you so much for watching my video, and I hope you have gained a new skill on how to use a fax machine no matter the shape or size.